If you're a man and you're spending another Valentine's Day alone, this video is for you. Again, no fancy thumbnail, no edit, no nothing, just going off my phone. I wanted to put this message out there. So I first fell in love for the first time when I was a junior in college. It was between my junior and senior year. I was working an internship at a private bank in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I was living with 4 of my cousin's crew buddies who hated my guts, who didn't like my family, didn't like my cousin's family, didn't really like anything about me. I took an internship because I thought I wanted to work in finance and I wanted to get away for a bit. And I wanted to go away, to be completely honest, to be very free, to date any woman I wanted to do all the bad activities I wanted to do all the things that I felt like I was constrained at my current environment back in my college, back in my hometown, that I could not do. And so I did them. And the unintended consequence of all of that was that I fell in love. In the last week, I was in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania with a wonderful woman, and she was great, and we fell in love very quickly, and we did everything possible to both make each other the best people possible and to make each other the worst person possible. And a lot of that, and I would argue most of that, was my fault. I screwed that up. And I looked back at that moment for a long time with a lot of regret. I screwed it up. I'm never going to meet someone like her again. She was my everything. She was my world. I thought I was going to marry this woman. I thought she was going to have my children. I thought she was going to share my last name. I thought she was going to be with me forever, but she wasn't. And I have a feeling that this is the story of a lot of people. And what happens as a man when this happens to you is that you laser focus in on the woman and then you let everything else go on the wayside. This is not a red pill talking point. This is just what happens. And I let it happen to me. And I see men all the time who zone in on what women want and what women expect out of you. And I understand it and I get it. And it almost destroyed me. And it did destroy me, in fact, for a while. I totally wrecked the next 2 years of my life because I thought that I was going to end up with this woman, even though it was a highly toxic relationship. I was not being very healthy about it. I was not helping her. I was not leading as a man. I was not a Christian. I was not doing anything that deserved the worthiness of a good woman like her. So what happened, and what happens to a lot of people in this scenario, is that she left. She left me, and she started dating a guy that was everything that I wasn't. And that really hurt me. And it took me a long time to get over that. And I'll never forget, she tried to let me down easy. She tried to let me explore other options. She tried to tell it to me nice, but I didn't want to hear it at all. I just didn't want to hear it. And I remember one day, it was on my birthday, about a year and a half later, she texted me. And she left me a voicemail and she said, "Happy birthday, but we can't be together," etc. And I remember I had focused every single bit of my personal development for the last couple of years. Everything I was doing in my career, everything I was doing with my money, everything I was doing with my books, with my businesses, with everything to impress this woman, just to let her know, or let me know that she was rejecting me for another guy. And I listened to that voicemail, and I listened to it probably about 5 or 6 times in my couch, in my shit apartment in Boston, Massachusetts. I could barely afford the rent. I was drowning in credit card debt. I was trying to force my way out of it, make the life that I have now a reality. And after about the 6th time of listening to it, I deleted it off my phone, and I sat on my shitty couch, and I bawled my eyes out. I bawled my eyes out for probably about 30 minutes because I knew that I screwed that up. I knew that I screwed that up. And I knew, more importantly, that everything I built for the last 5 years, really the last 2.5, but going on 5 years, took me a while to get over, was all for nothing because it was all for her. It wasn't for me. And my payback for that was she left me crying on the couch. And so I want to say a couple things about this. Number one, if you're a man, you're watching this. This is going to happen to you, whether you like it or not. You are going to get your heart broken. It sucks. It's awful. And on Valentine's Day, it can be especially tough. I'm a single guy right now. But it's going to happen. And it's okay to let it happen to you and to let you feel it and to feel the emotions that are going through your body right now and to let it out. And I'm not advocating for men being crybabies all the time, but if you need to cry, cry. If you need to smash something, go to a boxing class, jiu-jitsu, whatever. It is okay to feel things. It's okay to let yourself be hurt by this and to be upset about you not being where you want to be. Negative emotion can be good if channeled properly. But also, this is a wake-up call to all the men out there who are building something for a woman that is not even with them, that is not their wife, that's not their girlfriend, that's not in a committed relationship with them, that is saying, I'm going to tell this woman, I'm going to show this woman, I'm going to show my boss, I'm going to show my dad. Because if you do that, and you don't become the man you need to be, instead of trying to prove yourself as the man to people around you, you're going to end up exactly where I was, crying on the couch. And you're going to be wondering, like I wondered, what in the world was all of that for? And the answer, the one that I had to come to terms with, was that it was all for nothing. It was all for nothing. And that sucks. That's really, really, really awful to realize that. And to know that all of the things that you did weren't even to better yourself. It was to impress somebody else. It wasn't based on your values. It wasn't based on your identity. It wasn't based on your goals for your life. It was simply done to prove yourself as a man to somebody else. You don't need to prove anything to anybody. And on Valentine's Day, especially in the culture we live in now, with all the garbage advice on the internet and the garbage advice in the manosphere and telling you that you need to be all things to all people, you need to peacock, you need to show yourself, that's all a bunch of shit. It's all a bunch of shit. You only need to prove it to yourself. So focus on you. And that's not saying be selfish. That's not saying don't get married. That's not saying don't get in a relationship. Around Valentine's Day, you should ask yourself this question, but it should start with you. Am I doing the things I need to do for myself? Or am I doing it to impress somebody? A woman, a boss, your dad, whatever. Because at the end of the day, if you're not doing what you need to do for yourself, you're going to end up crying on your car, crying on the couch, crying, distraught, emotionally manipulated, and it will all be your fault. Just like it was my fault. Happy Valentine's Day. Thanks, guys.